One of the leading storylines these days is the rapid economic growth of the so-called emerging markets. Over the last 70 years, many low-income countries have developed rapidly. Millions of people have been lifted out of poverty. However, relatively few countries have reached the high-income status. In recent years, policymakers of the slower-growing middle-income countries are worrying that they are stuck in a middle-income trap. But at the same time, many economists deny even the existence of this term. Now let's put all the beliefs aside, and find out what is a middle-income trap. And why countries are getting trapped in this. If we speak in simple words, the middle-income trap is an economic development situation, in which a country reaches a certain average income, and gets stuck at that level, while failing to graduate into the ranks of high-income countries. At the same time, other countries make significant progress. For example, many countries made tremendous progress through industrialization. They were able to expand the national income, and also the per capita income. The World Bank has classified countries in terms of per capita income. In this, the low-income countries are those with per capita income lower than $1,005. Second category is the middle-income group, with per capita income varying from $1,006 to $12,235. For many countries, the conversion from low income to a middle income country is most of the time very rapid. But after that, the economic growth is very slow. And they might observe the phenomenon of a middle income trap. Latin America and the Middle East seem to provide compelling support for this phenomenon, as many economies in both regions have remained at middle income levels for 4 or 5 decades. In fact, out of 101 middle income countries in 1960, approximately only 13 became high income by 2008. Now let's head toward the causes. Well, by analyzing the history of economic growth of many countries, one of the main reasons are rising wages, or you can say rising cost of labor. Countries which rely heavily on labor-intensive manufacturing could be more vulnerable to the middle-income trap. You see, for labor-intensive manufacturing, a huge number of laborers migrate from rural to urban areas. But over the time, labor supply and the demographics have just become less favorable. The surplus supply of laborers coming from rural to urban areas starts to fade away. And countries hit the lowest turning point where labor supply shrinks, and wages start to increase. After that, these countries lose their competitiveness, and this starts to decelerate their economic growth. The next cause might be a slowdown in the rate of growth of productivity, or labor efficiency. This could happen if countries do not invest sufficiently in human capital, especially education. Slow rate of innovation could also be the reason for slow productivity. Similarly, the average age of the country's population may start to get older before they get rich. And this can also reduce productivity. The middle-income trap might also be the result of institutional failure. Government and financial sectors may not be able to cope up with the rapid expansion of the economy. Also, high inflation rate and credit bubbles could also damage economic growth. Now we have to understand, transitioning to high income status is rare and difficult. It requires different growth strategies than the ones that propel countries out of low income levels. Every country has a different set of economic, social, cultural, demographic, and political circumstances. So there is no unique policy to avoid the middle income trap. But there are some ways which could be useful to avoid it. First, it is difficult to achieve high growth without strong macroeconomic stabilization policies. The fiscal, monetary, and financial policy making supports long-run economic growth. This helps countries to control inflation and avoid crises. Second, strong institutions and rule of law are essential for growth. The quality of governance, including public sector efficiency, control of corruption, effective legal systems, and civil and political rights are all strongly correlated with economic growth. Third, investment in education and human capital development are again crucial for growth. As productivity increases, it helps the technological innovations, which depend upon highly skilled human capital. And to prompt innovation, investment in RAND and advanced infrastructure needs to accelerate. Achieving and maintaining economic growth is easier said than done. And many countries are making sincere efforts. But external conditions and fluctuations in international trade can weaken the impact of countries' growth efforts and policy reforms. So countries should tailor their policies according to their economic and political realities. Historical experience and empirical evidence shows that the transition from middle income to high income levels takes time. Different stages of growth call for different strategies and policies. And the right reforms often take time to impact economic growth. Ultimately, each country's growth story is unique, but the general prescription remains the same. So, policymakers should critically examine their growth strategies and find the most effective ways to boost their economy. If you like this piece of content, then please share it with the world. Also, we would love to hear from you, what kind of videos you would like to see in the future.